Hello, wild people. Welcome to AK Wild One. As you might have heard, I won first place overall in the Pacific Crest Trail Association's photo contest. I was shocked, humbled, and excited to hear the news. So today, I thought I'd share with you some of the best pictures I submitted to the 2024 PCTA contest and talk about the stories behind the pictures. Thank you for tuning in. First off, I'm not claiming to be an expert photographer and videographer. I'm just a fanatical one. However, when I hike the Pacific Crest Trail, you have long hours to engage your higher spirit. During such a conversation, I decided to pursue my love of videography and photography wherever it took me. I decided life was too short to not pursue your passion. Photography and videography force you to pay attention to light, to the simple things that often go unnoticed by other people, and to be ready for serendipity. Before I get started, I'm planning to launch a series on digital storytelling, which will include tips on documentary filmmaking and making a vlog. So please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and the notification button. It helps a lot. If anything, it helps me avoid the world of real work. So I have a lot of information to share, which I learned through backpacking more than 3,000 miles with a camera. My digital storytelling series is geared toward those who hike long distances and want to keep their camera gear as light as possible. As this series progresses, I also look forward to hearing your comments and suggestions because together we can inspire each other and also get better at what we do. Okay, well, here's the first picture I submitted. It's taken near the Whitewater River. We rested along the river's shore in the shade, and we decided to set up camp in a rocky area. All our gear was spread out, and we were eating and relaxing when all of a sudden Flash bolted toward me and shrieked, "There's a rattlesnake! I want to go home!" The snake curled up under her backpack. Now, I'm not a snake guy, but I said we should collect all our gear that was spread out. Once the snake moved, I wanted to eliminate all of his human gear choices he might look to for cover or for entertainment. So once we collected our gear, I lifted Flash's pack from behind, and the snake slithered off into the rocks, which is the moment that this picture captured. Afterward, we started laughing, and someone on the trail said Flash's trail name should be Snake Charmer. One of the cool things is we sent this picture into ULA, which is the type of, which is the company that made our packs, and they put it on their Instagram page, and they said it got more reactions than anything they had posted that year. So that was kind of cool. This next picture was from a stormy day in the Sierra in June. It is also the thumbnail on part 1 of my PCT documentary, A Pacific Crest Trail Cottywomple. We encountered lightning and rain around 11 a.m., so Flash and I, we found a place and took our Tyvek ground cloth and sheltered ourselves underneath it from the storm, laying on the dirt beneath the ground cloth. And we ate, took a nap, and it rained and thundered overhead. It was pretty cool. When the rain stopped, we headed down the trail. Everything smelled really nice and fresh, and the clouds were quite moody as we crossed this bridge in the Sierra. Later, it then hailed on us, but these clouds that I captured, I think, created an ominous vibe that kind of expresses that moodiness you sometimes encounter in the Sierra. This next picture was taken about 26 miles outside of Burney, and it was at the end of a really hot day, of course, and we were nearly out of water. The stream was down this very, very steep, precarious hill with a trail that kind of went off a cliff almost. And it took me about 40 minutes round trip to get water. And so after a long hot day and after a day of getting water, it came back up and it was getting dark. Sunset was happening, and Flash had set up the tent and got everything ready. And we decided to have dinner. And then all of a sudden, the sun started going down. You can see our tent just glowed. And I had to capture that picture. It was one of those peaceful moments after a hot day in Northern California. You know, it seems like there's a common theme in my photographs. It's the idea that the beautiful photos seem to come shortly after a difficult ordeal. In some ways, I think that's a fitting metaphor for life. Hard times on the trail just might be nature's way of setting you up for once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. I guess it goes to show you, if you want a taste of the divine, maybe you need to gargle a little vinegar beforehand. Okay, this next picture is of Mount Thielsen along Thielsen Creek, and probably one of my favorite pictures in Oregon. And we did Oregon last year starting in July, and it rained maybe 1 inch in a whole month. So I think 1 inch is pretty generous actually. And this place was just sumptuous. There was a beautiful Thielsen Creek nearby, and we camped and caught the sunrise picture, did a time lapse. I knew it was going to be a beautiful place. And then the next morning, or maybe it was that morning, we started out early hiking along Oregon Trail there. And nothing I like more than hiking in the morning. One of the things that I think is true for fanatical photographers and videographers, obviously, is they like light. They pay attention to light. And you got to be able to get up early in the morning or stay up late at night, because that's when you have those moments that are called magic light, the magic hours. And anyway, one day I'd like to come back and climb Mount Thielsen. Apparently there's a trail that leads up to it. Looks pretty precarious, but man, it's just beautiful up there. Well, by the time we hit Washington, we had metamorphosized into hiker trash, and it's pretty amazing the things you find to entertain yourself. And you feel a little more disconnected with the real world, which is kind of a nice feeling, and more connected to the natural world. I just found myself intrigued with all kinds of things, you know, spider webs and bees, and in this case, especially slugs. For some reason, I really I felt a kinship with the slugs in Washington along the trails. I felt sorry for them, but I don't know, I kind of admired them. I kind of admired them in many ways, just because they didn't seem to care what other people thought, and they kind of like to live dangerously out there on the trails, I guess. Anyway, in Washington, we came across this place, and I think it was before Stehekin. I'm not sure. It was near the end of Washington, and this butterfly hitched a ride on Flash's pack for a couple of miles. And we just started talking and laughing about what was in this butterfly's mind that it wanted to hitch a ride on our pack. And obviously, it saw some benefit into hanging out with us. And I don't know, I just wanted to capture that moment. If you've watched this channel, it's not a secret that Flash and I are fanatical dog lovers. We just love dogs. We always have. And we're especially partial to older dogs, and older huskies in particular. And right before we set out for the trip in 2022, we lost a dog we adopted, Juliet. We just had her for a couple of months. We adopted her from a musher who liked old dogs. And before that, our puppy, our 17-year-old husky, had passed. So that was quite a loss for us. And we needed a dog fix. We needed a dog fix in the baddest sort of way. And outside of South Lake Tahoe, up the trail comes this young lady hiking with this white husky named Lady. And I was a little head flash at that time. And I petted Lady, and as I saw Flash coming down the trail, and I was saying, "Look, dear, look what's up here." And she came up, and Lady just leaned against Flash, and I captured that moment when Flash smiled. And I was kind of happy with that picture because that says so much about her love of dogs and what that moment did. It just lifted our spirits. Another picture that I think, to me, expresses Flash's spirit is when she crossed. I didn't enter this one, of course, but this is just another side photo when she crossed this log in Washington. I think this was pretty close to Sahican. Might have been within a day. We camped alongside the river, very pretty. And then we had to cross this log. And if you fell off this log, the river would sweep you into this bank. It wouldn't be good. And so I thought about it, and I was kind of hesitant to go across the log, and I didn't do it. Went kind of slow. Flash just ripped right across, no problem. And one of the things by that time, we had about almost 2,000 miles into the PCT or so. We'd become fearless. We had survived the desert. We had gotten through the Sierra. We endured rain, hail, all those things. And we just became fearless. And I thought that picture kind of captured that too. And here's a winning photo that won the PCTA photo contest, first place overall. I found the news out while we were hiking, and I checked my email, and I saw that I got an email from the PCTA, and so I quickly scanned the email looking for, "We're sorry to inform you, lots of entries, you did a good job, but you lost," or something like that. And then I came across this line that said, "It's our pleasure to inform you that you won first place," and I was just ecstatic. It was the first photo contest I've ever entered, so I was kind of humbled and full of gratitude and shocked at the same time. I took this picture after just coming out of the San Jacintos. It was after a long, arduous day of some pretty intense post-holing. And we almost set up camp in the trees a half a mile from this location. But Flash said, "I just want to keep going. There's some people around and it's shaded in here. I'd like to see if we can find a place that's open." And so we found this place, and we're really hungry. We set up camp. About a half hour later, all of a sudden, the sky was starting to glow, and you saw the clouds rolling below, and saw this beautiful place on the trail. So I set up my camera and thought, well, I'm going to do a time lapse. And I took a couple of shots, and the sunset just grew more and more intense and beautiful. And I thought I had something. I didn't get to check out my photos really until I got home. And then I was kind of amazed. It was really beautiful. And then, the next day, what's interesting is I was walking down the trail and I was thinking about all the different types of people that hiked the PCT, how all of them had come looking for something special, and how the trail was that one common denominator, and how it had this transforming effect probably on a lot of people. And I was struggling to put that into words, because one thing I knew was that this experience was going to be something that was going to be with me the rest of my life. And it's pretty true. It's hardly a day goes by that I don't think about the PCT or my long distance hikes. They just seem to be woven into my memory, and I refer back to them over and over again. And so next 500 miles, I struggled to kind of come up with how I could express that sentiment. This idea that the PCT would have a transforming effect on people, and also the fact that it would be a part of my heart for the rest of my life. And so I came up with these words that I ended my documentary with. And this was all inspired by that sunset. That's the reason I'm telling you the story. "The trail is a ribbon that weaves its way through each traveler's heart, shaping the words for what needs to be reckoned. The outward journey through deserts, mountains, sunrises, sunsets, river crossings, and valleys awaken something primeval in all those who have taken the trek. Afterward, if madness finds us, our thoughts return to the trail, drawn to simpler times when our hearts were alive and we found clarity in the wilderness. You don't really hike the PCT as much as the PCT hikes through you. It sets up camp in your heart, and the memories course through your veins for the rest of your life. Well, wild people, thank you for tuning in. And if you're interested in obtaining a copy of this picture, I'll leave more information in the description, or check out my Facebook page, AK Wild One. Well, wild people, I wish you the happiest of trails, and until we meet again, live wildly, my friends.